Ciao belli, come va? Welcome to Italian Lessons with Seva. Today we're going to discuss the direct, the indirect, object and object pronouns, and the subject in the sentence. There are some differences, there are some similarities to English, so let's see some of them. We're going to use today the il coccodrillo. Isn't it cute? I find it irresistible. All right, so let's take a look at the sentences. You have here a sentence with the she washes him. You have it here, and can you tell where the subject is? Yes, that is she, that is correct, because she is doing something in the sentence. And then what is the direct object? And the direct object is him, because it answers to the question whom or what. So you know that the direct object answers to the question whom or what. It's not the same as who or what, because she washes him, she doesn't wash he. That is why it's the direct object pronoun in this case, and the direct object itself. All right, let's see the next sentence, and it is she sees him. And your train of thought, who does something in a sentence? It is she, therefore it is the subject. It answers to the question who or what. And then she sees him, and him answers to the question whom or what that we just mentioned, and therefore it is the direct object, because the direct object receives the action of the verb in the sentence. Sees whom, sees him. He sees her, it is the same logic. He is the subject pronoun, sees is the verb, her is the direct object. In this case we use not only direct object but also twice direct object pronouns. He is the subject pronoun and her is the direct object pronoun. All right, next one. He gives her a duck. In this case, you have more than one object here. He gives her a duck. What literally receives the action of the verb? It is actually a duck. Strangely enough, it is the duck, because he doesn't give her, he gives the duck. Yeah? So he, subject pronoun, answers to the question who or what. Her answers to the question to whom, to what, not whom or what that we just mentioned. And then the duck, finally, it is the direct object, and it answers to the question whom or what. Whom does he give? He gives the duck. So it will be a little bit clearer from this sentence. The same sentence rewritten, but if you'll see closely, you'll see that it is clearer. He, still subject, gives, still verb, a duck, the direct object, and now it clearly receives the action of the verb, to her, answers to the question to whom, to what. That's why it's the indirect object. And in this case, it's also the indirect object pronoun. All right, so we have talked about this sentence, and then we have a sentence, he gives a flower to a duck. Who does something? He answers to the question who or what. Gives, the verb. Gives what? Gives a flower. That is the direct object, flower. To a duck answers to the question to whom, to what. So we can write down in here that to whom, to what it will be the indirect object, while whom, what will be the direct one. Next sentence is, let's take a look. Ducks fascinate him. And in this case, what is the subject? And the subject is ducks. Why? Because somebody does something in a sentence. It's the subject. Ducks are the subject. What do? They fascinate. They fascinate whom? They fascinate him. And therefore him answers to the question whom or what, and it is the direct object. The next one is slightly more tricky. Ducks are fascinating to him. To him doesn't answer to the question whom, answers to the question to whom. Therefore, it is the indirect object. So ducks are fascinating to him transmits exactly the same idea, except to him is the indirect object and not the direct. So what did we learn here? The subject answers to the question who or what does something in a sentence. The direct object answers to the question whom or what. And then finally, the indirect object answers to the question to whom, to what. Let's take a look at the following. We do not sleep. Where is the subject? It is we. Why is it we? Because we do something in a sentence. What is the direct object? There is no direct object. A sentence doesn't have to have a direct object or the indirect object. It just has to have the subject. So this sentence has only a subject, and the verb to sleep does not take neither direct nor the indirect object. That's it. He plays with ducks. He is the subject. Why? Because he does something. Plays is the verb. With ducks, because of the preposition with, it is neither direct nor the indirect object. Because with ducks doesn't answer to the question whom or what, and it doesn't answer to the question to whom, to what. So it's neither, it only has the subject. He goes to see them. The same thing. He goes, he is the subject. He goes, and to see them doesn't answer to the question neither whom, nor what, nor to whom, nor to what. Therefore, there is no direct and indirect object. And finally, they yell at him. It's an interesting one. They yell. They is the subject. Yell is the verb. At him, it's the indirect object because it answers to the question to whom, to what? To whom are they yelling? They're yelling at him. And what do they yell? And this sentence has the implied direct object. They yell words. They do not yell him. They yell something at him. Yeah? All right, so let's take a look further. So you already know the subject pronouns in Italian. Io, I, tu, you, informal. Lei, she, lui, he. Then lei one more time. Lei means you, sir, or you, madam. As the formal second person. Noi, we, voi, you, plural, loro, they. And you already know the indirect objects because you use them with the verb piacere. It is translated as to me, to you, to him, to her, to us, to you, plural, and to them. This one also doubles as to you, sir, and to you, madam. Both of them would take the le form because that feminine form works for the formal and for the feminine third person singular. So today we're concentrating on the direct object pronoun. So these are the direct object pronouns, and they're translated as me, you, him, her, us, you plural, them masculine, and them feminine. So it's similar to English, but slightly different. What's the difference? Well, one of the differences is this la works for feminine singular, but it also works for singular second person formal you, sir, and you, madam. And then another difference is them in English is genderless or unisex, and in Italian it is a little bit more precise. So you need to memorize them in order to use the indirect and direct object pronouns. Okay, so let's take a look and practice a little bit. You have here some words that have names and some that are plural that I would like you to pluralize just to review the pluralization from the last class. So you could use the verb mangiare, to eat, and use the direct object or direct object pronouns to practice the direct object pronouns that you just have learned, So if you need to stop it here, it would be a good moment to stop the video and then to do the exercise and then to go back and check whether you did it correctly. Okay? So, for example, la pera, it is the feminine singular. So you would say, I eat it. Why do you say eat it? Because here you have the verb to eat. That's why you do it. Why do you say I? You don't have to, but it's the first thing that came to mind. So if you say I eat it, you would say, and we will remember that it in Italian will be either masculine or feminine. So referring to the table that we just saw, it will be la because it's singular feminine. So it will be la mangio, which means I eat it. And the word io or I in Italian is optional. You could use it or you could skip it. Both are completely correct. But the most important thing here, it is the direct object pronoun. It is not optional. You have to use it. Okay, the next one is la mela, the apple. And you remember that it is a feminine singular. If you don't remember, the I at the end kind of suggests that. So you could say io, again, io is optional. La mangio. Why did you say la? Because it's feminine singular and it is the direct object pronoun. Now you have to pluralize it and you will say le mele. Plural, definite article, plural noun, feminine. So instead of la mangio, you will go back, you'll see in the table, and it will be io le mangio. Le mangio will be I eat them. In Italian, the word order is different. You say them I eat. And then also io, as usual, is optional. The next word is la melanzana. And it's the same thing. You will say la mangio. Why? Because that a suggests that it's feminine, that it's singular. And you'll say la mangio. The next one will be il pomodoro. Il pomodoro, O in here, suggests that it's masculine. You look at the table, it will be lo. So it will be lo mangio. Lo mangio. And it will be the direct object pronoun. Now you need to pluralize them. And you do. And you say I pomodori. And you will say li mangio. And you are welcome to use io if you feel like it, but you don't have to because Italian is the language of freedom. Le banane, you go back to the table, you'll see that le will coincide with the article, but it's not the same word. Le mangio will be direct object pronoun with the conjugated verb. Then you have le melanzane, plural, le melanzane. How do you know that they're melanzane? Well, you look at the singular melanzana at the left corner, and then you will say le mangio, and it will be the direct object pronoun. Il peperoncino whispers into your ear that's masculine, so we'll say lo mangio. Io is optional. Il cocomero, watermelon, you will say lo mangio. Why is that? Because it is masculine. You see it by the ending. You go back, you look at the direct object pronoun, you'll say lo mangio. Il limone will be lo mangio. And then for the plural, I limoni will be li mangio. L'ananas, again, it's masculine. Most of the words ending on a consonant, especially of the foreign origin. And l'ananas is definitely of the foreign origin. Tupi-Guarani, south of Brazil and Paraguay, indigenous word. And then you'll say li mangio. Why is it li? Because it's masculine, plural. All right. I hope it was useful. If not, now would be second time to stop. You can go back and do the same thing for other conjugations. I only gave to you the conjugation of the io. All right, so what have we learned so far? We have learned that there is a subject pronoun that answers to the question who or what. There is a direct object pronoun that it answers to the question whom or what. There is the indirect object pronoun that answers to the question to whom, to what. All right, and then here we can practice with the verb piacere, which functions in a different way. It doesn't work like mangiare, because you don't say I eat it, but you'd say it pleases me, because that's how the piacere works. So instead of using io mangio, you would say la pera mi piace. Mi piace. Which means it's pleasing to me. But the meaning is I like it. But since in Italian there is no verb to like, this verb means to please or to be pleasing. So that's how you should translate it. So la pera mi piace, then you rewrite it in normal Italian word order, and it will be mi piace la pera. I like the pear, or the pear is pleasing to me. Now let's see if you can do it for the other vocabulary. Please learn it, and then please memorize the tables with the direct, indirect, and indirect object pronouns. I hope it was useful to you. I'm planning on recording the practicing lesson very soon. Ciao belli.